I wasn't supposed to come home early that Thursday. My business trip to Seattle got canceled last minute, something about a client emergency that resolved itself before I boarded the plane. So instead of spending 3 days in hotel conference rooms, I found myself driving back to Amanda's apartment at 2 p.m. with takeout and flowers, thinking I'd surprise her. The key turned quietly in her lock. I pushed the door open, balancing the food in one hand, and that's when I heard it. Laughter. Her laughter mixed with someone else's. Low, intimate, coming from her bedroom. My stomach dropped. I set the food down silently on her kitchen counter and moved toward the half-open door. What I saw burned itself into my brain instantly. Amanda, my fiancé of 2 years, tangled in sheets with another man. Neither of them noticed me. I backed away, hands shaking, and left without a sound. Outside in my car, I sat frozen. My phone buzzed, a text from her. "Can't wait to see you this weekend. Love you." I stared at those words until they blurred. The drive home felt endless. Every red light stretched into eternity. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I replayed the scene over and over, trying to make sense of it, trying to find some explanation that didn't shatter everything I thought I knew, but there wasn't one. This wasn't a misunderstanding. Amanda had cheated, deliberately, comfortably, like it was routine. When I finally reached my apartment, I collapsed onto the couch and just sat there in the dark. No tears came, just this hollow, burning sensation in my chest. My phone rang around 7. "Amanda," I let it go to voicemail. She called again, then again. Finally a text. "Hey babe, you okay? Haven't heard from you all day." The casual tone made my jaw clench. Then another call came through, her mother, Patricia. I stared at the screen, watching it ring. Why would Patricia be calling me now? Against my better judgment, I answered. "Jeremiah, we need to talk," she said without greeting. "About your wedding." Patricia wanted to meet the next morning at a cafe downtown. I almost said no, but something about her tone made me curious. When I arrived, she was already seated, coffee in hand, looking perfectly composed in her tailored blazer. She didn't waste time. "I know you're upset," she began before I'd even sat down. "But these things happen in relationships. You have to understand Amanda's under a lot of pressure." I stared at her. Pressure. "Wedding planning, her career, expectations," Patricia continued smoothly. "Sometimes people make mistakes. The question is whether you're man enough to forgive them." My blood went cold. She knew about the affair. "You knew she was cheating," I said quietly. Patricia sipped her coffee. "I know my daughter has needs you apparently weren't meeting. And I know that if you make a scene, if you try to humiliate this family, your reputation won't survive. We have connections, friends, people who matter in this city." She leaned forward. "So here's my advice, Jeremiah. Forgive her, marry her, or walk away quietly. Those are your options." I left that cafe feeling something shift inside me. The heartbreak was still there, but underneath it something harder formed, determination. They thought I'd fold. They thought I'd either crawl back begging or slink away in shame, but they'd made one critical mistake. They'd underestimated me. That night, I sat at my kitchen table and made a decision. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to disappear. I was going to expose them both in a way that left no room for spin or lies. But I needed to be smart, calculated. I opened my laptop and started planning. First step was documentation. I needed evidence beyond what I'd witnessed. I needed proof so overwhelming that even Patricia's connections couldn't bury it. I pulled up Amanda's social media, her email, her calendar. Then I bought 2 tickets to the annual Riverside Charity Gala next month. The event where Amanda's family always made their grand appearance, where everyone who mattered would be watching. That's where this would end. The next 2 weeks I became a ghost. I responded to Amanda's texts with short, normal replies, went to dinners when expected, smiled when required, but behind the scenes I was building a case. I started with her laptop. One evening when she showered, I copied files from her computer, messages with him, with her mother, with friends discussing the affair like it was a funny secret, screenshots of texts where Patricia advised her on managing me. I found receipts too. Expensive dinners I never attended, hotel rooms charged to credit cards I didn't recognize. Then I discovered something worse. Bank statements showing regular transfers from Patricia to someone named Kyle Morrison. $5,000 here, $8,000 there. I cross-referenced the dates with Amanda's calendar. Every transfer coincided with nights she claimed to be working late. Patricia wasn't just enabling the affair. She was funding it, bankrolling Amanda's lover's entire lifestyle. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was systematic, calculated, and deep. I needed help, someone I could trust completely. Then I remembered Tyler. We'd worked together at my previous firm before he moved to forensic accounting. He was meticulous, discreet, and he owed me. 3 years ago, I'd covered for him when his divorce got messy. I called him. "I need a favor," I said, "the kind that stays completely between us." Tyler met me at a quiet bar that Saturday. I explained everything, showed him what I'd found. His eyes widened as he scrolled through the evidence. "This is insane," he muttered. "How long has this been going on?" "At least 8 months, maybe longer." Tyler looked up. "What do you want to do with this?" "I want to document everything. I want proof so solid that when I expose them, there's no way to spin it." He nodded slowly. "I can help with that, but we need to be careful." We spent the next hour planning, setting traps, identifying gaps in the evidence. By the time I left, I had a strategy, and Tyler had my back. Amanda's family held monthly dinners at Patricia's house. Large, formal affairs where everyone performed their roles perfectly. I'd always hated them, but now they were opportunities. That Sunday, I arrived with wine and a smile. Patricia greeted me with that same cold warmth. "So glad you could make it, Jeremiah," she said, kissing my cheek. Throughout dinner, I watched them. Amanda touched my hand when she spoke, performed the role of devoted fiancé flawlessly. Patricia dominated conversation, steering topics away from anything uncomfortable. But I noticed things I'd missed before. The way Amanda checked her phone constantly under the table. How Patricia intercepted certain questions. During dessert, Amanda excused herself to the bathroom. I watched her slip a folded note from her pocket and drop it on the side table near the hallway. Minutes later, someone else passed that table. Kyle Morrison, Amanda's lover, present at a family dinner, bold as brass. I waited until everyone moved to the patio. Then I pocketed that note. The note was brief but damning. "My place, midnight, he'll be gone by then." Tyler and I met the next day. I showed him the note, explained Kyle's presence at the dinner. "They're not even trying to hide it anymore," Tyler said. "I need to record them," I said. Tyler pulled out a small device. "Audio recorder, looks like a pen. Battery lasts 12 hours. Leave it somewhere they won't notice." The following week, Amanda invited me to dinner at her apartment. I arrived early while she was still at work and placed the recorder on her bookshelf, nestled between picture frames. That night over pasta, she talked about wedding plans, honeymoon ideas, our future. Every word felt like glass. "I have a surprise for you next week," she said suddenly. "Something I think will make you really happy." I smiled back. "Can't wait." After I left, the recorder kept running. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. Tyler had set it up to notify me when voices were detected. I listened as Amanda's door opened. Kyle's voice. "Is he suspicious?" "Not at all," Amanda laughed. "He's completely clueless." I thought hearing her laugh about my ignorance would break me. Instead, it crystallized something. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was finished. The next Saturday, I asked Amanda to meet me at her apartment. When I arrived, she was already pouring wine, wearing that soft smile. I sat down across from her. "I need to talk about us," I began. She tensed slightly. "What about us?" "I just want to make sure we're solid." I watched her face shift. Relief, then something else. Arrogance. "Of course we're solid," she said. Then, leaning forward, her voice dropped. "Look, relationships aren't perfect. Sometimes people need space, freedom. If you're feeling insecure, that's something you need to work on." The gaslighting was breathtaking. "So if something happened, you want me to just accept it?" She laughed, actually laughed. "Nothing's happened, but honestly, if you can't handle a strong woman, maybe you're not ready for marriage." I stood. "Good to know where we stand." Her expression shifted to concern. "Wait, what does that mean?" I smiled. "Exactly what it sounds like. Try anything dramatic, Amanda, and you'll regret it." Tyler's digging uncovered the final piece. Patricia hadn't just been funding Kyle's lifestyle. She'd been paying his rent, his car payments, even his credit card bills. Over $70,000 in the past year alone. Why would she do this? Tyler wondered. I thought about it. Control. If Amanda marries me, Patricia loses influence. But if Amanda's tied to someone she's funding, Patricia stays in control. That's twisted. That's Patricia. But there was more. Tyler found emails between Patricia and Kyle. Not just financial arrangements, but strategy. How to keep Amanda happy. How to avoid raising my suspicions. How to ensure Amanda still married me while keeping Kyle on the side. It was a blueprint for manipulation, and I had every word documented. "This is enough to destroy them both," Tyler said. "What's your play?" I pulled up the Riverside Charity Gala invitation. Public exposure, in front of everyone who matters to them. No spin. "No escape," Tyler grinned. "I'll help you set it up." We spent the next week preparing, gathering witnesses, organizing the evidence, creating backups. By the time we finished, the trap was perfect. Riverside Charity Gala was the event of the season. Every influential family in the city attended. Patricia's social circle, Amanda's network, the place where reputations were built and destroyed. I arrived alone, wearing my best suit, projecting calm confidence. Amanda was already there with Patricia, both dressed immaculately, working the room. When Amanda saw me, she approached immediately. "You came," she said, sounding genuinely pleased. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied. She linked her arm through mine. "Everyone's here, let's make the rounds." We moved through the crowd together, Amanda playing the perfect fiancé. People congratulated us on the upcoming wedding, complimented what a beautiful couple we made. Patricia watched from across the room, approval in her eyes. She thought everything was back on track. Kyle was there too, hovering near the bar, but I caught the way he looked at Amanda. Around 9, I excused myself. I found Tyler near the stage. "Ready? Everything's set," he confirmed. "Your call." I took a breath. Let's do it. The evening's program included speeches and donor acknowledgments. Patricia was scheduled to speak, but before her turn, the host announced a special presentation. A message from one of our community's dedicated young professionals. The host read from a card Tyler had planted. "Please welcome Jeremiah to the stage." Amanda's head whipped around, confusion and panic flashing across her face. Patricia went rigid. I climbed the steps, took the microphone, and looked out at 300 expectant faces. "Thank you all for being here tonight," I began. "I want to talk about something important: truth, loyalty, the foundations we build our lives on." The room was silent. 6 weeks ago, I discovered my fiancé was having an affair. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amanda stood frozen, face draining of color. At first, I was devastated, but then I learned something worse. Her mother knew, approved. Even funded it. I nodded to Tyler. The screen behind me lit up. Bank statements, transfers from Patricia to Kyle, text messages discussing the affair, emails strategizing how to keep me in the dark, every piece of evidence laid bare. The ballroom erupted in shocked whispers. Patricia tried to move toward the stage, but people blocked her path, staring, judging. Amanda stood paralyzed in the center of the room. I continued. "For months I was told I was imagining things, that I was insecure, that I needed to trust more." My voice stayed steady. "So I started documenting, recording conversations, following the money, and what I found was systematic deception." More images flashed on screen. Screenshots of Amanda's texts with Kyle. "Can't wait to see you tonight, he's so clueless." "Patricia's covering dinner again, we're good." Photos of them together at restaurants, hotels. Timestamps matching nights Amanda claimed she was working late. "I shared passwords with her," I said quietly, "trusted her with everything, and she used that trust as a weapon." I looked directly at Amanda. "You laughed about it, called me pathetic." Her eyes filled with tears, but they looked empty, performative. The crowd's sympathy had already shifted. Tyler approached the stage with a folder. "There's more," I said, "but I think you've seen enough." I stepped away from the microphone. No one knew what to say. I descended the stage and headed for the exit. Behind me, chaos erupted. People swarmed Patricia and Amanda, demanding explanations. Others pulled out phones, already spreading the story. Tyler caught up with me in the hallway. "That was brutal," he said. "Effective, but brutal. They earned it." We were almost to the door when Amanda's voice rang out. "Jeremiah, wait." I turned. She was running after me, mascara streaking her face. "Please, let me explain." "Explain what?" I asked calmly. "How you betrayed me, how your mother bankrolled it." "It wasn't like that," she sobbed. Kyle meant nothing. It was just what? Just fun. I shook my head. I don't care anymore, Amanda. Patricia appeared then, face twisted with fury. You have no idea what you've done, she hissed. Our family, our reputation. Your reputation was built on lies. I cut her off. And now everyone knows. Patricia's hand shot out like she might strike me, but Tyler stepped between us. I'd think very carefully before you touch him, Tyler said quietly. Patricia lowered her hand, trembling with rage. This isn't over, she whispered. I smiled. Yes, it is. I thought the gala exposure would be the end, but I'd planned one more reveal. Tyler and I had contacted Kyle's wife. Her name was Vanessa. I'd found her through social media, verified through public records that Kyle was married, had been married for 5 years. She had no idea about Amanda. The morning after the gala, Vanessa showed up at Amanda's apartment. I wasn't there, but Tyler had positioned someone nearby to document it. The confrontation was explosive. Vanessa demanded answers. Amanda tried to play victim, claiming she didn't know Kyle was married, but Vanessa had done her homework. She'd found texts, photos, evidence spanning months. She'd also discovered Patricia's financial support. You paid for him to cheat on me. Vanessa's voice echoed down the hallway. Patricia tried to defend herself, claiming ignorance, but Vanessa wasn't having it. By the time it ended, Vanessa had filed for divorce. Word spread fast. By afternoon, the story had hit social media. Screenshots from the gala presentation. Photos of the confrontation. Amanda and Patricia became infamous overnight. Their carefully constructed image shattered. Patricia made one last desperate attempt. She called me directly. We need to talk, she demanded, face to face. Against Tyler's advice, I agreed. We met at a hotel lobby downtown. Patricia arrived looking haggard, the polish stripped away. You've destroyed us, she said without preamble. Our family is ruined. You did that, I replied. I just made sure people knew the truth. Patricia leaned forward. I can make this go away. I have money, connections. Name your price. I stared at her. You think I want money? Everyone wants something. I pulled out my phone, set it on the table between us, recording. You're trying to bribe me now? Her eyes widened. You're recording this? Every word. I leaned back. See, Patricia, you taught me something important. Documentation matters, evidence matters, and I've got plenty of both. She started to reach for the phone, then stopped. What do you want? Nothing. I want you to live with what you've done. I want everyone to know exactly who you are. Patricia's composure finally cracked. Please, Amanda is my daughter. She doesn't deserve this. She deserved honesty, I said. Loyalty, respect. She didn't give me any of that. The public exposure at the gala had been strategic. I'd invited specific people, journalists, social media influencers, people whose presence would ensure the story spread. By the next day, it was everywhere. Local news picked it up. Charity gala turns dramatic as man exposes fiancé's affair. Online forums dissected every detail. Amanda's social media filled with comments, most condemning her and Patricia. A few tried to defend them, claiming I'd been cruel. But the evidence was too overwhelming. Tyler had created a website hosting everything. The bank statements, the messages, the timeline. Anyone could verify the truth. Amanda tried damage control, posted a long apology claiming she'd made mistakes, but I'd gone too far. That public humiliation wasn't justice. The comments section destroyed her. You laughed about him behind his back. Your mother paid for your affair. You gaslit him and now play victim. Within days, Amanda deleted her social media entirely. Patricia did the same. Their absence spoke louder than any defense. Meanwhile, I received messages of support. Friends reached out. Colleagues expressed respect. Even strangers messaged saying my story gave them courage. I didn't feel victorious, just free. Amanda made one final attempt to turn the narrative. 2 weeks after the gala, she posted a video, tearful, vulnerable, claiming I'd manipulated the situation, that I'd trapped her. He made me look like a monster, she said on camera. But relationships are complicated. I made mistakes, yes, but he pushed me to them. He was controlling, demanding. I felt suffocated. The video got traction. Some people started questioning my methods. Maybe he was abusive. Public humiliation seems extreme. Tyler called me immediately. She's trying to flip this, make you the villain. I'd anticipated this. I have backup, I said. I released a second wave of evidence. Messages from Amanda to friends months before the affair started describing our relationship as easy and stable. Texts where she explicitly discussed cheating as exciting. Screenshots proving I'd never been controlling. And most damning, a video from the family dinner. The pen recorder had also been a camera. Footage showed Amanda and Kyle exchanging that note, Patricia watching approvingly, their casual comfort with deception. I didn't narrate this release, just posted it with a simple caption. Context. Amanda's video was drowned out within hours. The narrative collapsed completely. She'd tried one last manipulation. It backfired spectacularly. Walking away from Amanda wasn't dramatic. I simply stopped engaging, stopped responding to messages, stopped caring what she or Patricia thought. I focused on rebuilding. Work became a refuge. I threw myself into projects, earned respect from colleagues who admired how I'd handled a terrible situation with evidence rather than emotion. Friends rallied around me. Tyler and I grew closer, our friendship strengthened by what we'd been through together. My brother flew in for a weekend just to check on me. Even strangers at coffee shops would recognize me and offer quiet words of support. But the biggest change was internal. I'd spent 2 years trying to be enough for Amanda, enough for her mother, enough for their idea of who I should be. And I'd learned a brutal truth. I was already enough. They were the ones lacking. 3 months after the gala, I ran into Vanessa, Kyle's ex-wife. She'd divorced him, moved on, started her own business. "Thank you," she said simply, "for giving me the truth." "We both deserved that," I replied. She smiled. "Maybe we both got exactly what we needed." She was right. I'd lost Amanda but gained myself back. 6 months after everything imploded, I was sitting at a cafe when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Jeremiah, can we talk? Please, I need closure." It was Amanda. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Part of me was curious, but a bigger part knew better. I'd already moved on. She was a chapter I'd closed. I typed back one word. "No." Then I blocked the number. That evening, Tyler and I grabbed dinner. "Heard Amanda reached out," he said. "She posted something vague on a burner account. People figured it out." What'd it say? "Something about how hard it is to move forward when someone won't forgive you." I shook my head. "She still doesn't get it. This was never about forgiveness." "What was it about?" Tyler asked. "Truth, dignity, refusing to be the person they wanted me to be." Tyler raised his glass. "To truth, then, and to not letting people write your story." I clinked my glass against his. "To that." Later, walking home through downtown, I felt something settle. Peace, maybe, or just acceptance. Amanda and Patricia had tried to control the narrative, control me. And for a while they had, but not anymore. My plan hadn't just exposed them. It had freed me. And that was the real victory.